Good afternoon. So we are on lesson 5 today in unit 2 of our phonics program. We're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to do our mix it up first. So what I need for you to do is get out your phonics journal. Okay. We're going to be on page, oops, I didn't put a page number on there. We're on page 26 today. Page 26 and 27. So we're going to do page 26 first, okay? Page 26, today's date, 10/22, and you need to write mix it up. And then we're only going to do 4 words for our mix it up today because we're using the boxes. So it's taking a little bit longer. So go ahead and pause your screen so that you can get this written down and then hit play when you're ready to go. Okay, so the first word that we're going to do today is the word hot. Hot. So I need you to think about the word hot. How many sounds do you hear in that word? So I hear 3 sounds. Ought, ought. So I'm going to make my boxes. I'm going to make a box with 3 squares. Okay, so here's my box. Now I need to think about the sounds I hear. Ought. What sound do you hear first? What should go in that first box? It says the letter H. We need to put an H there, okay? So then I hear ah, ah, ah. What letter makes that ah shape with your mouth and sounds like that? It's an O. Okay, so ought, ought. And so that's the letter T. Now remember, guys, we are doing a sound in the box. It's not how many letters are in the word. It's how many sounds do you hear in the word, okay? So there is the word hot. We have ought. Good. So now we're going to take that, and I'm going to change it. And I don't want the aw in the middle. I want it to say ah, at, at. How many sounds do I have? I still have 3, okay? So I'm going to make another box with 3 squares, okay? I still have the at the beginning, and I still have the t at the end. What's the part that changed? It's the middle part. And instead of ah, it now says ah. What letter do we know makes the ah sound? It's the letter A. So we went from ought to at, hat. All right, our word is the word grove. Grove, like a big area with a bunch of trees is sometimes called a grove. So I want you to think about that word. Say it very slowly. How many sounds do you hear in the word grove? Okay, so I hear 4 sounds. Grove. So I know the first sound I hear is g, 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 and that's the letter G. I hear a grr, that's the letter R. Grove, it's an O. Grove. I know that's the letter V. And just because I know how to spell the word, and I know that by looking at that, that is not going to really say oh, probably that's going to say aw. So what do I need to do? I'm going to put a silent E at the end. But I'm not putting it in my box because it's not a sound in that word. I don't hear the E. I hear grove. That's a silent letter. I don't hear it. So I'm going to leave it out of the box. All right, so we're going to change the word grove to the word grow. Grow. Think about that. Make the boxes. How many sounds do you hear in that word? Grow. What sounds do you hear that are the same? I hear 3 sounds that are the same. Okay, so the G stays the same because it's the beginning of the sound. G, 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 grr is the same. And grow. Grow. Oh, do you hear anything after the O? No, no. Now I know how to spell the word grow. This is what I hear. Grow. Grow. But I know that the O, it doesn't look right. I know that there needs to be something else there. I know that there needs to be a W with it. Grow. Sometimes OW says O. The next word we're going to do is the word bag. 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 How many sounds do you hear in the word bag? Go ahead and make your boxes. Bag. Bag. What do you hear first? What is the first sound that you hear in the word bag? I hear the letter B. B, 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 that's the letter A. B, ag, g, and that's the letter G. So I heard 3 sounds. B, ag, in that word. So here's how I have my boxes. B, ag. Okay, so we're going to change the word. I don't want it to say ah in the middle anymore. I want it to say uh, uh, b, ugh. I still have 3 sounds. B, ugh. So I'm going to draw my boxes. Okay, now on your boxes, we have the word bug. We still hear b, b at the beginning. So it still starts with the B. We still hear g, g at the end. So I know it ends with a G. But the difference is the sound in the middle. It says uh, 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 ugh. What letter makes that sound? It's going to be a U. Ugh. So we went from ag to ugh. Very good. All right, last one is the word flap. Flap, like the bird had to flap its wings. Think about how many sounds you hear in that word. Flap. Okay, so I hear flap, flap. So I hear 4 sounds. So I made a box with 4 squares. Okay, the first sound I hear is, and I know that's it on myself. It's the letter F. Fl, fl, la, la, la. That's the letter L. Fl, ah. The letter A. Flap, flap. So that's the letter P. So here I have the word flap, flap. Good. All right, but now we're going to change it. I don't want it to say ah anymore. I want to change the vowel sound to make it say eh, eh, eh. Think about that. What do you have that stays the same? And what are you going to change in that word from flap to flip? Okay, so in mine, I hear fl still. I still hear the f and the ol, and I still hear the p at the end. The part that I need to change is the vowel sound. I want it to say eh, eh, and I know that the letter I is the sound, is the vowel that makes the eh sound. So we went from flap to flip. Very good. Okay, so take a minute, make sure that you have your mix it up words correctly done on your paper. You can pause the video to make sure and then go ahead and push play when you're ready to move on. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you so that we can get started on our lesson for today. So like I said, we are on lesson 5 of unit 2. So here are some of the words that we did. We did hot to hat, grove to grow. We didn't do that one. We did bag to bug. We didn't do that one. And we did flap to flip. All right, so your words on the curve for today. We've got some words on the curve. So I'm going to read you a sentence. Okay, I want you to repeat it with me. The lights glow at night. Say that with me. The lights glow at night. So if we break this word apart by what we hear, I hear the gl, gl, o, gl, o. So I hear the G and the L is the blend and the onset, and then this is the rhyme part, gl, o. But I want to change this. I don't want it to say the O in the middle. I want it to say So it's going to say grow, grow. What's my new word? The new word on the curve is grow. Our next word is the word smart. The smart thing to do is look both ways before you cross the street. Smart. So if I look at that word, the onset is the sm, sm, and the rhyme part is the art, art, smart. But I don't want it to say smart anymore. I want the to say t. So now it's going to say art, art. So the new word on the curve is start, start. Good job. Okay, so our next sentence says, he spoke loudly. Spoke. The onset or the blend is sp, and then I hear oak. Notice I don't have the E here because we don't actually hear the E, do we? We don't hear the E in that sound. We hear the oak. So we have oak, oak. But I don't want it to say spoke anymore. I want the p, p, p sound to say So now it's going to say smoke, smoke. So the new word on the curve is smoke, smoke. Good. The next word we have is Henry did not have a clue. Clue, clue. And the part that I hear is clue, clue. So the onset is the cl part and the oo is the rhyme part. But I don't want the ol anymore. I want it to say crew, crew. So the new word on the curve is crew. Good. All right, and we got one more word. It says try to cram everything in the suitcase. Say that with me. Try to cram everything in the suitcase. So the onset is cram, cram, cram. But I want to get rid of the part, and now I want it to say ol, clam, clam. So the new word on the curve is clam, clam. Good. All right, so our spoonerism for today, I'm going to say it first and let you think about it before I show it to you, okay? So today's spoonerism is bead a rook. Bead a rook. Think about that for just a second. Bead a rook. Remember, you're supposed to change the first letter of the two words. So here it is, bead a rook. What do you think it should be? We're going to flip-flop the B and the R. So it should say, read a book. Read a book. All right, so our learning targets for today are, I can complete spelling test. Yes, we're taking a spelling test today. I can read words with the OO spelling. And I can ask and answer questions about key details in the story, The Frog Race. So yes, today is our spelling test. We're going to take the test. I'm going to read a word aloud and then use it in a sentence. And I'll give you time to write the word, but because this is a video, you can pause and hit play when you're ready to move on. And at the end, we're going to go back through the list and read each spelling word one more time. And I will also give you a short sentence to write. Okay. All right, so what I need you, oops, wrong thing. What I need you to do is take out your phonics journal again, and we are now on page 27. And you need to write spelling test 4 on the top and number down to 1 through 10. Skip a line between each word. Now remember, guys, if you do this and you get a wrong word, if you get a word wrong, all you're going to do is put one line through it and then write it correctly beside it. They're doing it on the worksheet. We're not doing a worksheet. We're doing it in our journal. Sorry, hold on. I need to turn my phone down. Okay, so we're doing it in our journal, not a worksheet. Okay, so you're going to do your best, please. All right, so the first word is the word yelled. Mom yelled at the dog. Yelled. Number 2, yanked. Yanked. She yanked the doll from her brother. Yanked. Number 3, slumped. He slumped in the chair. Slumped. Number 4, limped. The athlete limped to the locker room. Limped. Number 5, plopped. She plopped down in the beanbag. Plopped. Number 6, smiled. Mom smiled at my dad. Smiled. Number 7 is shrugged. He shrugged because he didn't know the answer. Shrugged. Number 8 is liked. She liked the pie for her party. Liked. Number 9, patted. Mom patted the baby cow. Patted. And number 10, you. You are a great student. You. And then on the bottom of the page, here is your sentence to write. His dad smiled. His dad smiled. Okay, so I'm going to read the words one more time to make sure you have them all. Number 1 is yelled. Number 2 is yanked. Number 3 is slumped. Number 4 is limp. Number 5 is plopped. Number 6 is smiled. Number 7 is shrugged. Number 8 is liked. Number 9 is patted. And number 10 is you. And your sentence is, his dad smiled. All right, so now we're going to check them. We're going to go over our work. And remember, if you got one wrong, you just put one line through it and write it correctly beside it. Okay, you don't need to scribble. You don't need to erase. Put one line through it. All right, first word is yelled. And remember, guys, because this is a video, you can pause it and then play again whenever you want. So I'm going to go through these quickly. Number 2, yanked. Number 3, slumped. Number 4, limped. Number 5, plopped. Number 6, smiled. Number 7, shrugged. Number 8, liked. Number 9, patted. Number 10, you. And the phrase, his dad smiled. His dad smiled. All right, so we are going to go to our vowel sounds for today. So today we're going to talk about the O-O spelling, okay? It has 2 different sounds. This is the word soon. Pay attention to how your mouth is. Soon. You see how your O's make that ooh sound. So this is the word soon. Okay, the letters work together as a digraph letter team to stand for one sound. So the 2 O's together say ooh in this word, not in all words though. In this word, it says ooh. So let's read some more words that have the ooh sound. Let's read them together. Moon, noon, spoon, broom, two. Okay, so on page 12 of our flip book, which we will do in just a few minutes, we're going to highlight the ooh in soon. But we're also going to do this one. This is the word look. So pay attention because it doesn't say Luke, does it? If we go by what this one up here said, it was supposed to say ooh, but it doesn't say that with this word. It says okay? Look. So sometimes, pay attention to how sometimes our lips are like ooh, and sometimes not like that with the OOs. Sorry, I'm reading something. All right, so let's go to page 9 of our individual code chart. And we're looking for the ooh. Oh, here it is, like in the word soon. I need green. Here we go. And we're also going to go ahead and do this one since we're on here. The for look. All right, and if you notice, the power bar for soon and for look don't go from one side of the spelling card to the other. So that tells me that there are other ways to spell those sounds than just 2 O's together. We're going to study all of these later in the year, but right now we're just focused on these two. These will not be in any of your stories until we have learned how to use them. Okay, so let's read this word together. This is the word book. Book. What's the vowel sound in this word? It's the part. So these letters work together as a digraph letter team to stand for one sound, the part. Okay, so we're going to read some words with this sound. We have the word foot, wood, cook, look, hook, took. All right, and so there, those two are in the wrong spot, aren't they? I need to fix that. So we did the and look on the flip chart, and we did the ooh and soon. We already did this part. So here are some words that are going to be in today's story. With the ooh part, we have drooled, drooled, and whoop, whoop. And then with the sound, we have looked, took, and goodness. All right, so in today's work, you have a worksheet to do. It's worksheet 5.2. Okay, so this is super easy. You're going to read the statement, and you're just going to tell me yes or no if it's true. A stove can drool. Yes or no? Can a stove drool? No. So you're going to write no. You're going to put a text box there and write no. A big lake can be nice. What do you think? Can a big lake be nice? If you think yes, then you're going to type the word yes. We stood in line to get shampoo. Can you do that? Can you stand in line to get shampoo? Okay. So you're just going to tell me yes or no. And here are the directions. It says have students write yes or no beside each sentence. Okay. So you're just going to write yes or no if it's really something that can happen. All right. So our tricky words for today, we have 3 new tricky words. The first word is the word no. There is no yelling allowed. So think about that word no. What is expected and what is tricky about that word? Well, the expected part would be the N sound, the N. I expect that sound to say N. What I wouldn't expect, or what's a little tricky, is the O sound, because there's nothing after it that makes me think it's going to say O instead of aw. But if we said gnaw, that doesn't make any sense. So the O is what makes that word tricky. The next word is go. Let's go on a road trip. And the same thing with go. What part is tricky and what part is expected? Just like with the word no, the word go, the O is the tricky part because it says O instead of aw. The G is an expected sound in the word go. And our third word is the word so. There are so many books to read. So, what's tricky and what is expected? So just like in the other 2 words, the O is the tricky part and the S is the expected sound. All right, time to wiggle. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Okay, while we're wiggling, we're gonna shoot some hoops. Shoot some hoops. My favorite sport. Shoot some hoops. All right, now you're gonna act cool. Okay, now look up. And that's it. Wiggle back to your seats, please. So our story for today, remember yesterday we started the first part, and today we're going to do the second part of the story that Mike's dad was telling him at bedtime. And today's part of the story is called The Frog Race. So yesterday, we learned about quotation marks. We'll briefly talk about characters, setting, and events in the story yesterday. So who were the characters in yesterday's story? So we had Big Jim and we had Pete. And where was the setting in yesterday's story? Yesterday's story was in the West, a long time ago in the West. And what were the events in that story yesterday? So Big Jim was bragging about how great of a jumper his frog was, and he was betting that no one else's frog could beat his. So Pete decided to take the bet, to take the challenge, but he didn't have a frog. So Big Jim said, "Here, hold my frog while I go get you one." And then that's where the story ended because Mike fell asleep. So this is going to be part 2 of our trickster tale that we are reading. But remember, here are some words that we are going to have in our story today. Drooled, whoop, looked, took, and goodness. Here is a word that you're going to see in our story today that you may not know. It's the word hitch, and it means to lift up slightly. Like there is a hitch on the back of this truck that helps hold this trailer up. And the hitch is what keeps it lifted slightly. So we are going to read with expression and we're going to observe the quotation marks in our story. And just like I did yesterday, I'm sure you guys probably laughed at me, I used different voices for Big Jim and for Pete and the story. And we're going to use different voices when you read because it helps you understand the story better. When you have expression, it helps you to understand what's going on more. So we are going to read the story. Oops. Here we go. I'm going to pull it up. All right, so here is our cover. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller so we can see the whole page. Here's the cover of our book. And here is our table of contents. And if we look at the table of contents, our story, The Frog Race, it is chapter 4. And it starts on page 24. Okay, here we go. The Frog Race. "Dad," Mike said when he woke up, "what happened with the dang frog? I missed the end of the tale. I was sleeping." "I did not tell it end," said his dad. "When you drifted off to sleep, I stopped." "Oh, tell the ending," said Mike. Mike's dad picked up the tale where he had left off. Big Jim handed his frog to Pete and ran off to the stream. Pete held Big Jim's frog in his hand. Pete looked at the frog. Then Pete reached in his pocket and got a pile of limes. Yum! Big Jim's frog drooled. The frog ate the whole pile of limes from Pete's hand. Then Pete set the frog down. While Pete was feeding the frog limes, Big Jim was down at the stream. He tossed off his boots and went frog hunting. At last he nabbed a nice frog. He ran back and handed the frog to Pete. Look at him feeding limes to that frog. And there's Big Jim over there. Look at he's chasing. I see 3 frogs. 1, 2, 3. He's chasing the frogs. "There's your frog," said Jim. "Just set him down there next to my frog. Then we will let them compete to see which one of them is the fastest." Pete set his frog down. "All set," said Jim. "All set," said the man. Then Jim yelled, "Jump, frogs, jump!" Oh, look at his poor belly. He's all sick looking. Pete gave the two frogs a tap to get them jumping. His frog hopped off nice and quick, but Jim's frog just sat there. Once he hitched up his legs like he was fixin' to jump, but it was no use. With all those limes in him, he was planted there just as solid as a rock. His tummy was full. Pete's frog hopped and hopped till it got to the finish line. "Fine race," said Pete. He took Jim's $10 and slipped the cash in his pocket. Then Pete tipped his hat and set off. Well, Big Jim was stunned. "What happened to my frog?" he said. "I hope he's not sick." He bent down and picked up the frog and rubbed his tummy. There's the poor frog. He can't get past the starting line. "Goodness," said Jim. "He must have had a big lunch. I think he tricked me. He fed my frog too much to eat," Jim said. Big Jim let out a whoop. His face got red. Jim ran to catch Pete, but it was no use. Pete had run off. Pete had tricked Big Jim. Okay, so that's the end of the story for today. So what was the setting of the frog race and the jumping frog? Where is the setting for this story? The setting is the West, the Wild West, the West a long time ago out in the West. Who are the characters in the story? We have Big Jim and we have Pete are the main characters. Good. So what are the problem and events or the plot in the story? So the problem is that Big Jim is bragging about his frog and he takes a wager. He places a bet and Pete accepts the bet, but he tricks Big Jim by feeding the limes to the frog so the frog can't jump. So how did Pete trick Big Jim? Right, Pete he gave the frog limes, and the frog ate so many limes that then he couldn't jump because his belly was so full. And that is part of what makes this story a trickster tale. So what type of fiction genre is this story? I kind of just said it. It's a trickster tale. Good, because that means that a smaller or less strong animal character or character beats a stronger character by playing a trick on them. All right, so our learning targets for today were I can complete my spelling test, which we did. I can read words with the OO spelling, which we did the ooh and soon and the and look. And I can ask and answer questions about key details in the story, The Frog Race, and we have done that also. So what I need to show you today for class, okay, so if you go to our Google Classroom, go to classwork, right here it says Phonics Week 1. So here is, oops, sorry, hold on, let me show you in the other classroom. Classwork. So here is your story, The Frog Race. You're going to reread that tonight to an adult or have an adult read it to you. And then you have the worksheet that I showed you earlier where you do the, you tell me yes or no. Okay? And that's all that you have to do for phonics work today, just to reread the story and do 5.2 worksheet. All right? Well, that's it. Super easy day. And then tomorrow we will get new spelling words. All right, so that's it. I hope you guys have a great afternoon, and I'll see you later.